Good afternoon. This is the licensing subcommittee for the Pawelek Coffee Shop and Ice Cream Limited. My name is Richard Seedhouse. I'm the clerk for the committee. The first order of business is to appoint the chair for the meeting. Would one of the present councillors nominate a chair?
I'd like to propose Caroline Charles to be chair.
And seconded, please.
I'm happy to second that.
And are you happy to chair, Councillor Charles?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Marvellous. Over to you then.
Right. Okay. Well, I'd like to welcome everyone to this licensing subcommittee. And the first item on the agenda is to see if there are any declarations of pecuniary interest. No. Right. That's good. Okay then. Well. Yeah. The subcommittee hearing procedures, you should all have received a copy of that. It was included in the notice and agenda pack sent to all parties. So I'd just like to ask the legal advisor to inform everyone present that the subcommittee had a briefing prior to the hearing. This was to confirm the procedure and for clarification on any aspect of the application.
It was. The committee meets just to sort of read through the papers, understand anything or ask any questions. A couple of questions, but weren't really legal at all. But yeah, they met. Obviously, this is the hearing. Deliberations are going to happen at the end of the hearing. That's where we're at.
Right. And yes, if the legal advisor could confirm the process for questioning and whether there have been any requests for adjournments.
It's as per the committee papers, the procedure, I should say. Basically, the applicant will go first. Questions can be asked of the applicant, and then obviously, if the other parties were here, one would proceed to ask them questions after they'd gone through and given their submissions as well. There is a closing opportunity, a closing submission section as well for the party making the application to close off the meeting, and that's it.
Right. Okay. And if the licensing officer could advise if there's any technical issues you feel should be brought to the committee's attention.
Thank you, Chair. That's just a couple of points to make. First of all, in terms of the council's licensing policy, the premises is located in the cumulative impact area for Mitcham Town Centre, and that's in the licensing policy where there's a presumption to refuse new applications or variations for off sales of alcohol. It does not apply to on sales, and this application is only for on sales. The policy does not apply to this application, and you need to consider it as you would any other application on its own merits. Then in terms of the application, this was amended during the consultation period. There were a couple of extra conditions agreed with the police. I won't read them in full, Chair. They're in your papers on page 34 or page 30 in the printed papers. It's effectively restaurant conditions so that the premises would operate as a restaurant for alcohol sales. It won't run as a bar with vertical drinking. And then the times were amended for the supply of alcohol for starting at 11 a.m. on each day of the week, going to 10:30 Monday to Saturday and 8:30 on Sunday. As I understand it, Chair, the opening hours are unchanged. So what that would mean, if you were to grant those hours as amended, there would be a 30-minute drinking up period at the end of licensable activity, and the opening hours would enable the premises to open for breakfast or earlier in the day, but without alcohol sales until 11 a.m. And that would be a fairly consistent approach with many premises in the borough. Thank you.
Right, thank you. And yes, Mr. Kakmazik, that how I pronounce it?
Yes, it is. Perfect.
Okay, yes.
Kaczmarczyk, actually, Chair.
Kaczmarczyk, right.
Yeah, Kaczmarczyk.
Okay, then. And if you'd like to present your case, please.
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Chair. One point that I'd like to clarify is that Ms. Manley, who's a councillor at your authority, is not appearing as a witness, so it's a technical point. She's effectively, in my view, appearing as an interested party, one who supports the application. I'm not involving her as a witness. I haven't spoken to her previously in relation to this application. So I'm just wondering if we might be able to.
No, she hasn't put a representation in, has she, Richard?
No, we don't have a representation from Councillor Manley, but the applicant is able to ask for
Her to be a witness for the
on her
applicant.
behalf as classified as a witness. She can speak to the application on their behalf, and we do have that request in from the applicant.
But obviously, she'd have to speak to the papers and things that you put in, as opposed to introducing new evidence, I guess.
That's correct.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. My apologies. I was under the impression that she may have made some representations, but more than happy to call her as a witness. She's obviously familiar with the application. She's familiar with the points that we will be making in relation to the operation here. So, yeah, in order to start, I shan't be too long, but I would say the following. I'm a solicitor and a partner in a firm called James W. Solicitors. I've specialised in licensing law for 18 years. I appear on behalf of the applicant for the premises licence, as you know. I have the applicant's director with me today, who will be available for questioning by members of the committee. In my view, this application would support the council's need to promote the 4 licensing objectives contained within legislation. The council statement of licensing policy at section 10 and appendix 3 makes it clear that applications and service will trigger the reverse presumption to grant a premises license on the basis of cumulative impact. As mentioned by your licensing officer, this is not one of those applications, as it only relates to sales of alcohol on the premises. No off sales means the cumulative impact policy is not engaged. Therefore, a decision to grant a premises license would not be a departure from policy. As you know, we are undertaking this hearing in order to deal with representation from one resident who presumably lives in the vicinity of the premises. We do not know for certain, as we have not been provided with her address, but we have heard earlier that she is a neighbour. So I am assuming that she lives in a reasonable close proximity to the application site. The issues that the objector is complaining about in the past may not be in the reasonable vicinity of my client's premises. We don't know any specifics in relation to her complaints, and may be the result of other licensed establishments selling alcohol off the premises. It is revealing, in my view, that this application has not attracted any outstanding representations from responsible authorities or other interested parties who are members of the public. My client's application has been endorsed by the various responsible authorities that have been consulted in relation to this application. If they were not satisfied with the applicant or its proposed operation, they would have maintained an objection to the application and would have been appearing before you along with the interested party who's not here today, but obviously has a representation which still stands as it has not been withdrawn. As you can see in your agenda pack, my client intends selling alcohol on the premises, ancillary to and with the table meal. The hours for selling that alcohol have been agreed with the police as outlined by your licensing officer. As a result, the issues that the objector is concerned with will not eventuate. My client has included conditions on its application which promote the licensing objectives and will deal with the concerns of the interested party, such as they are. As you know, a breach of those conditions would be a criminal offence, leaving the applicant liable for prosecution. It is therefore in its interest to comply with those conditions. That will ensure a well-run premises. Moving to the objection from the interested party and the detail of the same, public nuisance is raised as a potential concern, but the broad issues are potential and they have been raised and they're predicted, but they're far from certain. In my view, they are also unfairly fatalistic and alarmist. The noise that she complains about, we feel can be controlled by the conditions already agreed with the police. There'll be no vertical drinking on the premises. There'll only be table drinks only as mentioned, and there'll be amended licensing times, which should effectively go some way to allaying the concern. There will be no outdoor drinking. Our client is only going to serve alcohol indoors. And this could also be a condition if necessary if the committee was minded to grant something along those lines. Our client is going to be providing a menu that contains more expensive alcohol per unit than you would expect to consume for effect. The idea behind the menu and the venue at large is to encourage an enjoyment of drinking in a relaxed continental environment. This is shown, for example, by our client's offering of wine alongside beers priced at around $6 per bottle.
$6.
£6, I say. Apologies.
You're in Australian mode.
Yeah, no, I think I must be. Sorry about that. The venue should, if in fact, promote a responsible attitude to alcohol, providing it only in the context of table service, sit-down drinking, and more expensive beverages in order to promote sensible drinking, which is in accordance with the Merton Statement of Licensing Policy. That's section 11.3, subsection 6. The conditions to be put on the license mean that there can be no increase in the problems of antisocial behaviour caused by on-street drinking in the area from the grant of a license for this premises. In relation to the designated premises supervisor, our client proposes to be that. Our client responsible licensee who has successfully run a nearby premises very close to the application site without complaint from the licensing body. We believe this should be taken in his favour as it speaks to his credit as a responsible licensee. Additionally, this application as a matter of law cannot be a mechanism to examine the client's premises that is already licensed, that has no problems in licensing terms. The objector complains that the venue is and the disturbance will result in public nuisance. As the committee will be aware, this is a view that is not shared by the council's environmental health team. Put simply, if there was any substance to the concern of the objector, the responsible authorities would be objecting to the grant of the licence. Additionally, if the perceived problems were likely to occur, you would be dealing with representations from more than one resident. The fact that you are not doing that indicates that all the residents living in the vicinity of the premises, apart from one, are content to allow it to be licensed on the basis that it is undertaken safely and responsibly. So now that's the end of my submissions before we get to the relevant questioning and the summing up or the closing statement. Is now an opportune time to bring in Councillor Manley as a witness.
Thank you, Chair. I'm grateful to the committee for granting me the time to support this application. The location of the cafe sits within the ward of Cricket Green, and I, as one of the 3 councillors, am delighted to be able to speak today to support this application. I also speak on behalf of my 2 ward colleagues, Councillors Butcher and Kawesa, who share their appreciation of this new enterprise. The applicant has served this community with its neighbouring shop selling food, groceries and alcohol for a number of years. The residents are regular users and sing their praises. As a regular customer, I have noted the hygiene and overall management of the shop to be of a high standard, and they have demonstrated their commitment to proper conduct in the selling of alcohol for consumption off the premises. I have neither heard of nor witnessed any on-street drinking or alcohol-related antisocial behaviour. Since the cafe opened only a very few weeks ago, it's been transparently clear that the applicant has fulfilled a neighbourhood need for a cafe that serves good quality fare at reasonable prices. Their establishment is well managed and clean, and whenever I have visited, it has been thronging with customers who have unanimously expressed their pleasure that we finally have an outlet of this calibre in what is a fairly deprived area. I have met with the applicant and am satisfied that not only will he fulfil and promote the licensing objectives, but he will ensure that the area outside where there are tables and chairs will continue to be managed with a keen eye for cleanliness and good order. He has a sense of responsibility and also goodwill to his neighbours. I have been in receipt of emails and many verbal requests to support this application before you this afternoon by not only the local ward residents, but also by those that have visited from other areas in the borough. It is also worth noting that Mitcham is bereft of an establishment of this calibre, and should the committee be minded to grant the licence, this will further provide a nighttime option for those who seek something other than a takeaway or delivery. It should also be noted that historically, there were 3 pubs in very close proximity in London Road, the Burn Bullock, White Hart and the Cricketers. This area has historically been used to establishments where alcohol is served and can once again enjoy that offering. As a final note, I would also say that we should be encouraging and enabling good businesses in the area so that not only do they survive, but they flourish in the community they serve. A new business owner has many risks that they take, and where we can, we should do as much as possible to assist in their future success. Thank you for your time and the opportunity to speak.
Right, thank you, Mr. Ralph, and thank you, Councillor Manley. Does the legal advisor or the licensing officer have any questions to ask of the applicant? No. And do any of the councillors have any questions to ask of the applicant? Yes, Councillor Mercer.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to Mr. Ralph and Councillor Manley. I love the support that you gave Councillor Manley. It sounds a great place. Having lived not that far from where this is, I agree. It sounds like it could really benefit from this restaurant. But I just wanted to clarify something, which was I think Mr. Ralph mentioned the Mediterranean feel, if I caught that bit correctly, that was aspired to. And I think you also mentioned that there are tables and chairs outside, Councillor Manley, and the objection that was made related to outside the premises. So I'll be grateful for clarification as to exactly what there is outside at the moment and what your intentions might be.
So if I might just answer some of the question, and then my client can provide further information if relevant. We've made it very clear that the sale of alcohol is only going to occur indoors. So there's no intention to have alcohol sold outdoors or consumed outdoors. And as mentioned in the submission, we can accept a condition along those lines, because my client is very keen to ensure that any sort of licensing impact or impact from the sale of alcohol, such as it is in that sort of environment, is going to be contained internally. So the issues that are complained about by the objector will simply not occur as a result of our premises operation. If you have any further requirements for elaboration, my client will assist.
Well, obviously, if the applicant wants to say anything, I'd be interested to hear what he has to say. But I think you're right, Mr. Ralph, that if you agree a condition that says you're not going to be serving alcohol outside, it would deal with the issue.
I mean, to be fair, the application being one for an on license means that you wouldn't be able to have off sales taking place outside anyway. So it's, I mean, you know, the condition can go on. That's fine if you decide to grant, but it's certainly otiose in a way.
Right. And are there any further questions for the applicant? No, it doesn't seem as though there are. So yes, so if I could ask the applicant if he'd like to sum up.
Thank you, Chair. I won't be too long. You'll be aware that your subcommittee is required to function effectively as a quasi-judicial forum or tribunal and make a legally binding decision. You are aware, obviously, you've been very well advised by your licensing officer and your legal advisor. You have to act lawfully and responsibly and balance the interests of one objecting interested party against the applicant, as well as those residents that want to attend a cafe that will sell alcohol responsibly. As we've heard, and I think reasonably assume, there are many people within Mitcham that will appreciate the opportunity to enjoy a responsibly run cafe that provides a more diverse and sophisticated dining option. Interested parties have the right to be consulted and comment, and those comments need to be taken into consideration. However, they do not have the right to veto a premises license, raising the potential for problems that have not occurred, that may not occur, and if they do occur, can be avoided or mitigated. The applicant, as I say, is an experienced licensee that operates a responsible and safe grocery store near the application site that sells alcohol that is not commonly available or attractive to street drinkers. It now wants the opportunity to do the same at a cafe in the same street. In my view, the objector does not provide the committee with the required level of justification to modify or refuse the application for a premises license. Because of that, and due to the fact that the applicant will run a safe and responsible premises, we respectfully request the license be granted in accordance with its application. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you for that, and thank you for all attending. Right, so the subcommittee will now retire for a private session. The legal officer and the clerk will also be invited to retire with us. All parties should receive a written copy of the decision notice within 5 working days. And I'd just like to thank you all for attending, and I would like to close the hearing now. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.